So my friends and I started a book club, and this is it. We read Empire of Silence, and I decided to play Beyond Good and Evil. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.
He goes through a lot.
He's kind of an idiot.
He, oh, like I think we spoke about this a little more. If anyone you look up like foot in mouth in like a thesaurus, he is a picture of him. It
Oh
says
yeah.
Hadrian foot in mouth disease.
Yeah,
Hadrian, Mr.
it's the
Foot and
definition
Mouth.
of it's the definition of someone who cannot stay out of their own way.
Literally.
He
Like
is
every time we think something is going okay for him, bitch opens his mouth.
he is somehow worse than Fitz.
Oh, dude. And like, because at least Fitz, like, he sometimes thinks things through. I don't think Hadrian has ever
Oh
thought
no.
something through.
Hadrian had the where Fitz grew up on the streets and we don't really know his backstory. Hadrian grew up as a monarch's son. And so he grew up as I'm cooler than everybody else.
Yeah, like at the beginning of the book, you kind of see like how he's taking everything that he's got for granted. He definitely comes across a bit as like the spoiled rich boy who thinks he doesn't fit in with his family and is ready to go.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
And
like
then
head in the clouds.
yeah, head in the clouds. He's like, I don't like my family. I'm gonna leave. And then everything goes downhill real fast.
Yeah. What do you think of I like the first part of the book where it's like all the on Devil's Rest and stuff. I really like that
I
part.
did enjoy it. I did enjoy learning about like Devil's Rest, what he's like day to day was, and seeing like as a monarch what is expected of you in this empire.
Mm-hmm.
I even like just the
Um,
first word. It just says light, full stop. And it's like
can I
yes,
Yep.
just say,
birth essentially.
can I just say, like, I'm gonna go on my phone and pull the book back up because the opening sequence honestly gave me chills. Like, I've never had a book pull me in from the first page, and
Mm-hmm.
the way the first page is like genuinely, I've never had a book pull me in from the first page. But the way this first chapter was written, amazing. I loved it. What was it? Because what was it? It was like the light of that murdered sun still burns me. Now I'm like, what
Mm-hmm.
the
That's a great
fuck?
line.
What a
Yeah.
lie!
And then it's like, yeah, I see it through my eyelids blazing out of history from the bloody day. That bloody day, hinting at fires indescribable. Like
It's
you
just the first line, unreal, unreal.
beautiful.
What do you think of the general concept, like how this is written? Because it's written in the view that like it's him at some point at the end of his journey or close to
Mm-hmm.
the end of his journey.
I
Like
really,
it's written back of like what he's done and he adds the context as he goes along, like his perspective. Like I didn't know that
Yeah.
then, I do now, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
um, I really enjoyed that because even when writing it, he's got perspective now, and he's thinking in retrospect, and he's kind of he's showing us that he's learned from his mistakes, but he also like for the people he saw even so close to the beginning of his life how much he feels for them. Like when he was talking about Kat later on in the book, he was like, I didn't want to write it down because like she feels too close still, even after almost 1,000 years,
Mm-hmm.
which I really, really enjoyed.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite. So it's tough for me because I also have a problem with it, where I'm like, I really like that it's from the future, and we know that he's in this jail cell writing all this and stuff. But there is times where I'm like, bro, I don't want to know every single thing of I didn't know it then, but this was the worst
Yeah,
decision, and I'm like, bro, let me figure that out.
yeah. I think at points I've really enjoyed like the retrospect. I really enjoy him looking back at it, and then
Mhm.
at times I'm like, you just need to write it out because you're giving us like kind of like spoilers
Mhm.
almost to
Mhm.
further on in the book, and it's also like we know you didn't know that now because you didn't know it then.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean? Like we get it. But um genuinely still very well written.
It's a delicate dance, isn't it? Because there are some instances where it's reassuring. For like, I think he talks about at one point having dinner with names. Hold on, there's a lot of names in this. Let me try and find Valka. That's the one.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so there's the reassurance, like, okay, this fight, and we'll get to it later, but like this fight didn't completely ruin their relationship. There's some reassurances there, but also it's a it's a delicate balance between that reassurance and, yeah, like, obviously, like, either foreshadowing or in some cases spoiling what is to come. But I think it's generally handled well, because it's a very big writing choice to make between, like, this is how I'm going to write it. Like, I'm going to have the perspective of my character telling the story, and that may mean taking away the element of surprise in some senses. I do think it's done well enough that it's not outright given away. Like, it's kind of alluded to, like, his duel, but the result of it isn't. Well, I guess the nature of it isn't taken away fully, but it's a tough balance to get done, a conscious writing choice. But I think it was decently handled. I think, for how how messy it can get, and how.
Yeah, and I do compare it a lot to The Assassin's Apprentice because Fitz is writing in the exact same way, because he is also writing from his perspective as someone in the future. So those books that, like, because it says, like, in The Assassin's Apprentice, like, writing this, my hand still shakes. So this was so many years ago, and blah blah blah. Like, it is looking back on it. He's writing it, and I think they're both done very well. And I enjoy, like, him looking back on it and still having these emotions, even though he's older than we could ever wrap our heads around. Like, we could ever fathomly understand how much life one person has lived,
Mhm.
which is very interesting to me.
I really love this book, but there are times where I'm like, man, this is definitely a prequel to the story he wanted to tell.
Yeah, this is definitely prequel vibes of this. I think it's showing, like, because the second book definitely starts from where he wanted it to,
Mhm.
but this is showing how he got there.
I still haven't read the second book.
I only started the second book because you told me to wait for you, so.
You don't have to.
No, I'm totally fine waiting for you. That's not an issue for me. I've got Brandon Sanderson to read as well, anyways, it's fine.
Oh, the list is
Um,
endless.
the list is endless, so don't even worry about it. But I will say is, this is a spoiler. This book started with light as the first word. The second book starts with the word darkness, which is also really
Oh
interesting
my
to me.
Nice.
gosh. He knows how to pull on my heartstrings.
Yeah, so literally the first book in the, like, genuinely. Yeah, so the first word is light, right? And in the second book, let me pull it up. I've got it on my Kindle here. It's called Howling Dark, right?
Mhm.
Literally just starts with darkness.
Oh my gosh. That's so
And
cool
I'm
though.
just like, yeah, it's so interesting.
That's kind of how I'm writing. I mean, like, it's not anywhere near as poetic and nice, but I am trying to write my book in, like, that mirrored perspective type way where
Yeah, it's such a mirror perspective,
hmm
genuinely.
it's so beautiful. I love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Because, like, in the second book, he's still writing from a past perspective.
hmm
Um, and at that point, all you saw was darkness when he closed his eyes.
I
As he was
have
kind of. Oh, sorry. I was gonna
no,
say,
go ahead.
as like, I was unsure, because I wasn't sure. Obviously, like, it's alluded to often throughout the book, like what he eventually does.
hmm
And as I was reading, because it's a big enough book, like, what, it's over 500, 600, yeah, 500 pages of actual stuff. And I was thinking, like, at what point does this begin to go in the direction that he ends up, as he describes it, as his future? And the more you get in, is like, oh, this isn't actually happening here, is it? This is going to have to happen another time. And I'm like, kind of like, I know it kind of jumps to the end real quick, but I kind of like that. It's kind of left on that. Like, this was my story. If you want to read more, essentially.
hmm
Yeah, and it kind of makes sense that it's not going to happen. We're not going to get to that part quickly because they're fighting a war, right, which spans an entire galaxy with between people who live hundreds of years.
Yeah.
I'll read out the last, like, it's literally the last paragraph, because I think it's kind of
Oh yeah,
bookends.
really?
No pun intended, bookends it nicely. There are endings, reader, and this is one. Some parts of me will forever lie on Emish, in the canals and on the Colosseum, in the
Mm.
castle and the Bastille of Borisevo. It lies with Cat at the bottom of a waterway and on the killing floor of the Colosso. It lies with Gilliam and Umbanari, dead at my hands, and with Anais, whom I never saw again. That particular one is powerful. If what I have done disturbs you, reader, I do not blame you. If you read no further, I understand. You have the luxury of foresight. You know where this ends. I shall go on alone.
Yeah, it's so poetic the way that he writes, and it's so like he's so deliberate with how he writes his from that character's perspective, from Hadrian's perspective, from
Also,
from
it's beautiful writing as well because
It's
it's an
so well written.
invitation. Like you know how this goes. You are more than welcome to carry on. But if this is where you choose to finish, then it's been a good journey, essentially, which I really like. Like it's
Yeah, I
the
really, but he
non-pressure.
is so poetic when writing it. He's like
Mhm,
a storyteller who could spin you in a web until you don't know that you're caught. Do you know what I mean?
mhm. I
Um,
so did you like the second half of the book, or the I guess the second part of the book?
I did. I enjoyed the second part of it. I will say, it did obviously slow down some,
Mhm.
which was expected because when you're writing a book, it's like first bit information happening, give me all the info, and then the middle part is it slows it down, gives you
Mhm.
introspective on the characters. It's more information, like it's not like is information heavy as everything
Yeah.
needs to be.
I feel like, to me, I think the first part of the book, well, like this whole book is like a prelude to what he actually wants to write in the next few books. I feel like the first part on Devil's Rest feels like it is a prelude to Borisivo, in and the Colosseum and all that stuff. I feel like it's like it almost
Yeah,
it
because
because this is his first like published book. I think he could have moved some things around. Like I think when he lands, or I guess gets woken up in Borisivo, is technically when the book starts, if that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. Devil's Rest is just it's information on who the characters are, what is important to this character at the time, and it's also it is a good mirror to the Colosseum because in the first part on Devil's Rest, his brother is fighting in the Colosseum for fun. He's
Mm-hmm.
doing it for fun. He's doing it for just glory to have a good time. And then in the later part of the book, he's fighting in the Colosseum
It's well
basically to fight
noted.
for his life.
Like Hadrian, like it was clear that he despises the act of the Colosso. Like he did not
Yeah.
enjoy what it basically represented because it basically represents the savageness of his brother Crispin.
Yeah.
But
And do you believe him when he says that? Because to me, I feel like it's less that he actually dislikes the fighting and more that he just wants to fight against his father. And it's more of just
Yeah,
like a
I think
thing.
in the Colosseum, he doesn't like it because he thinks it's beneath him. It thinks it's not worth his time. Um, and it's not how he proves himself to his father, and not how he proves himself to everyone else. And obviously, as a person who's been trained to fight his whole life, um, squabbles like that in the Colosseum will seem boring to him. And then in the Colosseum, at the end, you can see him actually like he's getting into it. He's rallying his people. He's fighting, but you can see him like he hates what he's doing, but you can see him also enjoying it, the thrill of it.
like he's good at it. Like I
Yeah.
think it's tough because I think he does just generally despise it when he first. No, I guess in his upbringing and what we get to see at least at Devil's Rest, and then I guess I guess desperation kind of sneaks in. Like he, as you say, like I don't his greater calling I think is diplomacy rather than combat, but he's good at it.
Mm-hmm. I
I guess like
I I do think that later on his diplomacy and stuff will get better, but he is
Absolutely.
definitely
But
too
think
much
about it this
yapping.
way. Yeah, he yaps too much because if you think about it this way, he's only like what, 20 something, 21, 22. Because even if
Mm-hmm.
he was in the fugue state for 30 something years, he is he didn't age, his brain didn't age, he didn't develop, so he is still that young. And when he's speaking to people who have already lived hundreds of years, 100, 200 years, they're going to talk circles around him because he's not caught up to that level.
Mm-hmm. And he's also just been out of the loop for everything in that 30 years.
Exactly. So he's only had about 18 years so far and nothing
Mhm.
else.
I
Everybody
think one thing
that's
that struck me in this was like the sense of time in this is very like you talk about even travel times, like in transit, traveling galaxies, like it's decades sometimes. And then I thought that was an interesting view of things, like especially with the crew in the first part, like how long it takes to get from point A to B. Like it takes
Mhm.
decades. I guess it's just, and obviously like his lifespan, of course, is like hundreds, thousand years, but I think it just I think early on that was just kind of a nice way is to set, I guess, just the grand scale of time that kind of it exists in this galaxy and its lifespans. It's like this is like it takes decades to travel to certain places, like that, like how that looks like in terms of like even like crew personnel. Like we kind of saw that early on in the book as well. It's like damn, like it just put things in perspective of how what this kind of world deals with in terms of
Mhm.
expectancies and time. It's like this, like you'd almost spend longer traveling than you had been alive to that point.
But it also shows in the way of like even at 18 he's still looking at what they call regular humans, plebeians,
Mhm.
as like children. He's like, I will live longer than they could ever fathom.
It's
When they
very
die, they will still seem like children to me, even when the person he is speaking to is older than he is now.
Mhm. It's
Um,
very much like how like in Red Rising how golds look at other colors.
Oh yeah,
absolutely,
like superiority
yeah,
is a big theme in this book.
That's where I came up with a lot
absolutely.
of the jokes. It was like a lot of the jokes that I was thinking of when I read this the first time was like, oh, okay, yeah, this is uh
But
where
but it does follow the same theme.
yeah, it does. Especially with a lot of the Roman callbacks and Greek callbacks, stuff like that. And then all of the like I jokingly called this like what happens to Red Rising another 30,000 years later.
Absolutely, I
Bec-
fully agree with that because even in Red Rising, they've already got their superior race, more
Mhm.
beautiful than you can ever imagine, stronger, taller, faster than you could ever be. They've
Mhm.
already got their supreme race, and this is those golds have decided to change themselves, become different, but still supreme.
Yep.
Like
Palatines.
Hadrian is just like it's made clear a bunch of times. Like he is just genetically better than so many people around him.
Mhm.
It's obviously it becomes more prevalent later on when he's basically
And I
wanted for
think
livestock.
and I think it's not until Amesh that he kind of realizes that these people are more alive than any of the lords and ladies could ever be.
Mhm.
And he does say that he's like suddenly he's put into the place of where all of the people he used to look down on and now are, and he is living a life as they would. And suddenly he sees the life in them where he never did before.
Mhm.
If you had to like divide up like the arcs of this book, there's I think there's about 4 or 5 because you have Devil's Rest, and then you've got basically his life in the slums as a beggar,
Mhm.
then his life in the slums as a Colosseum fighter, then it's post prison cell, as I refer
Yeah,
to it.
post prison so.
And then obviously the war element kind of begins to creep in closer to the end. But
Mhm.
of all the arcs, and you mentioned one of them briefly, I actually kind of like the one that immediately comes after Devil's Rest, the where he basically because he ends up basically living as a beggar, thief, etc. for years. Like you said, like he
Yeah,
his
I think it's 2 or 3 years, right?
Yeah, I
yeah,
believe it's three. Yeah.
and he goes from like you say, like he goes from obviously the people he used to look down on, and all of a sudden like pretty much everyone else is now above him because he has nothing.
He
His
goes
name, his
from
title is nothing.
yeah. He goes from almost like this god to less than nothing
Mhm.
in a
I will
space
say
of an eye blink. because that's all the fugue state was to him, and eye blink.
I will say that was probably one of the more disappointing aspects of one of the explanations we got, is that because like obviously he was chucked out mid transit essentially, and even his hindsight version of narrating the events is like, I just don't know, like I don't know what happened, and it's like it's if it was just like we just don't get an answer, like why did he end up on Barasevo? Don't know, like he was just chucked out. It's like, oh, okay, it's a little disappointing. It's not even like a you take away like you remove the veil as like for something else that made sense later. So it just didn't matter. He just ended up on Borisova, and that's all we know. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
that was a little more disappointing. Like he just never found out. It just didn't matter. I was like, oh, okay.
I
Well,
think it's kind of known that his dad knew about the plot of running away, right? Like, isn't that kind of like what we've learned?
I don't think we learned that.
I don't think so.
I don't think we learned that he knew about the plot of running away. What I think it was is obviously later on in Amesh, when he's taken in by the Lord, who wants him to marry his daughter, he shows him a letter of his father disowning him completely.
Yeah, I think he only finds out then what had actually transpired.
Yeah. I love his lesbian mother. Go her. We stand.
We stand the the pimp mom.
The pimp mom who has a harem filled with homunculi. We stand.
So talking about him being left and stuff, I had the game theory that it was the pirates themselves wanting to get money out of him and stuff, and so took all his things and threw them away, and that's why they wanted the ring, is they wanted to just sell off who he was.
I believe he still had the ring.
No,
Obviously he has it
he had to fight the ring back from the dock workers.
Yeah. So he still had it on him.
Yeah,
He didn't take it off, but I believe they took like his card, his debit card.
Yeah, his debit card.
I love that in the future. We still have debit cards. Love that for us.
It was literally a $40,000 debit card is what he had.
One of my favorite parts of that of this particular arc is his adventures in the slums with Kat.
Yeah. See,
I feel like
the
Kat
thing is,
definitely taught him how to live again.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that.
That's one thing that I like. I like that arc a lot.
Me too.
I don't give a shit about Kat, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like she was introduced just to bring him back to life, and then she's thrown away. And I guess I just didn't have enough time with her to have that, like, I care that she passed away.
I definitely think we didn't have enough time with her, so we weren't emotionally attached. But I also think he kind of did that for a reason, to show us how fleeting like human contact is for these people in the grand scheme of it.
I think she represents something a little bit more than like she literally. I think she took him from the gutter.
No. Like I love what she did for him. Like she represents him learning to actually live and feel again, instead of just like surviving and survival instinct. And once again, it showed him. It made him realize how much humans were actually worth, rather than him looking down on them. But I think it's also showing like how easy humans are, how easy they die, and how easy like it is like they're to his timeline that is literally like a flicker. It's not even a flicker.
There's because of like obviously how she died, there's a term for it that I really liked that I can't find, but basically like the people around him essentially on this planet, they basically came down with a virus essentially that he was genetically able to fight off, but everyone around him, including Kat, could not. And her death was like, she basically faded away in front of him, and her death just had even though we weren't around her for very long, her death had a much more profound effect on him, and clearly shaped him going forward.
I think it definitely affected him, and it matters to the story that it happened. I feel as a reader, I wish there was a little more for us to get involved with her.
her death essentially kind of marks the end of that particular arc, and then
Yeah.
basically, it not too long after that, he ends up in the Colosseum, which introduces us to a whole bunch of characters.
The worst of characters, right?
The best of characters.
One of the other things I was gonna bring up is I think another comparison to the Red Rising stuff is the like Palantines and stuff having to be forced into who you're allowed to mate with and stuff like that. And so Hadrian and his brother are only allowed to be alive because that's who the sanctioning body put together to then have kids and everything. And I find that fascinating, and that all of that can go, all of those things put into a line to make it so that Hadrian existed, and he's
Yeah.
still extremely against anything that's happening.
I also enjoy the fact of like when he was introducing his mother, he says, "My mother was late to my own birth," which is like, what?
Yeah,
That's how it starts. My mother was almost late to my birth, and I was like, huh?
yeah,
But it's showing that the children are like coming out of tubes. Like it's removing all of the humanity from
Yeah.
these people. They're literally like not even, you wouldn't consider them human at this point. Like they've taken out everything.
There's little love, there's little warmth. Like, it's very rare to find that kind of connection, it seems, in this particular galaxy. Like, it just how, like, I mean, we saw with Hadrian's mother. Like, basically, you try and find your own your own version of happiness if you can, and then you fulfill your obligations to the family. But you try
Yeah,
and find
and then
basically your
yeah,
happiness
she gives
independently.
what it is she gave him an heir and a spare and then left.
Yep.
Yeah, she has her own palace essentially elsewhere.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And it genuinely, it's removed like all of the humanity from life, from birth itself. And it shows like the church itself like took him out of the tube, which I feel shows how much power the church has in the empire, because they are there for every single birth and they're the ones who control the births and set it all up. Can't even call it birth, it's detubing.
Yeah, D-tube. Oh
It's literally
no.
detubing.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Don't say that. Put it back.
But it is showing how much power that they have. Like, obviously, it comes up later as well, but I think that was the first inkling of how much power these guys do have.
I just to go back slightly. I found it was called the Grey Rot. That's what it was.
Oh,
the
Grey Rot.
the
Yes,
plague.
yeah, the
I was
plague.
looking at the very helpful index / glossary of
Oh, the
terms at
very-
the back.
Yeah.
Wiped out 18% of the population.
So
And
I Go
I
ahead,
like
go
that as an event. Like, he's like, I survived the rot, because it's mentioned once or twice that like how like Hadrian survived the rot essentially.
Yeah, his
I like that as an event.
His superior like
genetics. stopped
genetics.
him. But it also it still feels like Earth almost, because they do have medicine to treat this, but no one can afford it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one could afford it, which feels very still real world and issues that we're still having to this day. And the fact that they're still having it 40 years in the future, 40,000 or 40 years, 40,000 years in the future is boggling.
When you guys were reading the book, because Graham just said like the index and everything at the back, did you guys find yourself looking at the back and looking at those terms and stuff?
I didn't no, because I feel like even if it was like odd, it kind of explained itself later on.
To me, I never looked at the back, and I've heard
Yeah,
that
me
that's
neither.
that's a big point of contention where people hate that they had to go back and look at it constantly. And I'm like, I never did that, so I don't
Yeah,
know.
because I feel like the characters who are important, you will remember the names of.
Mm-hmm.
And like the time frames and the themes that are important, you will remember those, the actions. And I don't think I needed to look back and read it. It's only now when I'm trying to think about it, I would look at it now just to like jog my memory a little bit. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't think I needed it throughout the book. Because even though the names were odd, it was still memorable enough because these were important characters.
I think it's helpful because it's not just like the characters' names you remember, but I think it's the terminology for how certain either objects, people, or titles sometimes that are are necessary to maybe just jog your memory, especially if you've been away for a few weeks and
Yeah,
it's
like
like,
if you were
what
to
on earth is this?
stop in the middle of it, you got busy or something came up, and then definitely you would need it. But if you had read it just fluently throughout without stopping, I think it's okay. It's not too hard to follow. I believe that other books get a bit more complicated and they get a bit more fleshed out, but that's the same with all writers. Like the first one is a go get 'em, and then the second one is like, here's the meat you wanted. Your sandwich is now filled.
Yeah.
Which is exactly like Red Rising. The first book was slow introduction, like not slow, but you know what I mean, like introductions. Like it was world building, a lot of it, and then the second book is the nitty gritty. We go through some shit in Golden Sun.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Man, I miss Golden Sun.
me too.
I felt even with how bad Darrow had it, I feel like he had it nowhere near as bad as Hadrian.
And no one near as bad as Hadrian's gonna have it, I feel.
Hadrian.
Because I think he's still a few hundred years away from recovering from foot and mouth disease.
Foot and mouth disease.
I think he's still gonna have a time. Oh god, but he talks himself into so much bullshit. He just can't help himself. He can't help himself.
I mean,
It's making me laugh.
I'd refer to them as like paths of divergence. Like if this event hadn't happened, then he wouldn't be on this particular trajectory. There's about 4 of them in Hadrian's case. Like, do not go in that cell.
Because
Don't
he has
open your mouth.
He has a disease.
Don't
Oh
do
my
it.
gosh.
Just don't do it.
So like a lot of that
Spoilers, he did it.
comes I feel like a lot of it, like you get a few bits of it in like the first, like Graham said, there's kind of 4 parts in this. The first 2 parts, there's bits of that, and you can see the worst of it in the first part, but like the worst part of it is in the third part when he's in the Colossal. I think he's just the dumbest person in the Colossal.
He actually is. Everyone is like fighting for their life, and he's like, "Come on, guys, teamwork."
Teamwork
The
makes
revolutionary
the dream work.
concept of teamwork. It's
Yeah.
no one had heard of this before.
Apparently.
And everyone is like, "We're just trying to live, dude." And he's like, "I'm a boy with big dreams."
Yeah, for real.
You're trying to tell everyone else his dreams. Like, oh, let's get a ship.
And everyone is like, "Shut the fuck up."
I have a family in a house. Please stop.
They literally were like, hey bro, we know there's something off with you. We get it. You look like you have money or came from money at some point. We get it. We're here because we have to be. Can you shut the fuck up?
He's like, "Let's go, lesbians. Let's go."
For real.
That's so funny. But then he's like also like he's like he does get himself into stupid situations because he doesn't also think things through. Like him going to see the seal sin in the cell did not think that through, did he? He was just like, I'm gonna sneak down there, then sneak back out, and I'm like,
I'm gonna
is that the whole
pretend to be
plan?
a bus boy and
Is that the
walk
whole
down into
plan?
the yeah, for real.
And I'm like, you know what? You know what? Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
Oh no, my chickens have come home to roost.
I'm like, yeah, no wonder they picked you up because you were fucking talking to it.
The
Literally
2
went down there
guards.
and in front of 2 guards had a
Yeah.
conversation.
The 2
the seal
guards
sin.
let that go on a lot longer than should have happened. They should have been like, okay, bro, Zapped him
The moment he
immediately.
started like having a conversation with it in its own language, the guard should have been like, "No, this is some fuck ass shit. Get out."
It does make sense where they're like, "Oh, we're interested in this guy," but still zap.
And I think it helped that he looked like the high class. What is it, Palantine?
Yeah, Palantine. That's how they
Yeah.
say it in the audiobook, at least.
Yeah. I read it, so I'm just like, I'm gonna pronounce it how I read it.
Uh,
You be my Palantine?
Oh.
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 I clip that and I bleep it anyways. So like in the Colosso, I love Sketch. Everybody loves Sketch.
Switch.
You mean
Switch. Sorry, I don't know
Scotch.
where did I
Oh,
get
Sketch.
Sketch. I was
Just
thinking
Sketch,
I
just
was
Sketch.
thinking the freaking Twitch, the Twitch streamer.
No, I liked Switch. I liked him because you know what? He's trying his best.
He's a Switch.
Yeah, he's very fresh. He's fresh off the block.
Very
It's like,
fresh, and
it's like, oh, this
apparently a
guy's not going to survive, is he?
cutie.
He's a cutie.
He's a cutie.
Remember?
Is it odd that I don't have I don't really have a ton of thoughts on the actual Colosso arc itself. It's a little repetitive at times.
Yeah,
I think
it's
the Colosso is a stepping stone to the last part because the Colosso is where he saw the Seal Sin for the first time,
hmm
and then how he was discovered to be who he is, which is Hadrian Marlowe. Dun dun dun. He was discovered to be who
He
he is,
did.
and he was removed to there, and that was leading him to where he is now. I believe it was genuinely just a stepping stone to get him out of the streets, because from the streets he couldn't just walk up to the palace being like, "I'm here, dear Marlowe. You know who I am, bitch." Like, he didn't
It's in
just
my blood,
walk up.
literally.
It's in my
didn't-
blood.
He did
I-
not hide his thing well at all.
He didn't try. He didn't even fucking try.
I will say the one thing I did like about it was that it was a progression. Like obviously, like the start of it, they're basically there by like they're prisoners essentially serving out a term, and he basically ends up serving that term, and then he kind of comes into a bit of money later on. Like they could go out more on nights out afterwards. Did he even get like he was able to get better rooms for himself? That was the one thing I did enjoy about the Colosso arc, was that it showed a progression of how it was a nice progression of, obviously from when he was there as a beggar, thief, etc. And then by the end of his time, at least on this part of it, like he's been able to kind of dictate his surroundings a little bit more.
Oh, hi,
which
Dolly.
was a nice,
Hello.
nice progression. That's it though.
Mm.
The Colossal Arc I was a little bit dragged out for
Gorgeous
my liking.
girl.
But
I think I love the castle arc that happens after.
yeah, I feel two ways about that arc, because I feel like in some ways it goes on way too long. But
Mhm.
I think, yeah, it's because if I would have any issues with the book as a whole, I think sometimes the pacing goes a little off in point. I just felt this part of the book was a little slow. Like I get the general idea of what was trying to be fleshed out, etc. But I just thought at times at this particular part, once he comes into, was it Mataro? What was his name? The basically person he ended up serving for this particular part, I thought was a little slow at times. If I had to be critical, I
I
think it was Mataro.
I want to know what you guys thought about Hadrian and then the kids, the relationship. I guess they were kind of the same age, but he was tutoring them.
Oh, was it Dorian and Annias? Annias?
Yeah, I was trying to remember their names.
I think it was Dorian and Ananias. My opinion on them. I mean, they're slightly spoiled, obviously, but I get it. Um, yeah, it was interesting to kind of. It was obviously such a very different role he was taking. Essentially, like he put the mask back up, didn't he? As Lord
Mhm.
Marlowe, which I liked that he was able to. He had a bit more awareness of how to, I guess, navigate the dance between being himself and putting up the mask and the answers he needed to give when he had to.
I also think he looked down on them a lot as well because he saw them as spoiled by that point. He saw them as spoiled and flighty by that
Mhm.
point. Like you can tell in his brain that he did not like them. He saw them definitely as like, but I think he also was thinking about himself as well, because he was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"Fuck me, did
Oh,
I
yeah.
used to be like that?"
they're a means to an end, I think.
And it's so funny
well.
because he's just like, man, I can't believe these guys, and it's like, bro, you're still like them. You're still like them.
Exactly. Like as soon as he got to the palace, he turned back into his broody artist self.
Uh huh.
He got there, and I'm like, "Are you looking in a mirror right now?"
Hmm. They're
I liked his disguise name, M. Gibson.
yeah,
Like, well done.
obsessive much.
Mm.
What do you guys think of his like almost forced relationship with the daughter?
I mean, it was a smart move for the Baron part
Yes,
because he
Mhm.
wants the old blood who wants it.
He
it was
wants
excellent
Um,
it.
leverage. I thought. I don't think Matara handled that very well. It's like he's worked himself into the best possible deal for himself and his family. Like this could not have worked out in
Mhm.
theory any better than this. Like look at
And to be
look
fair,
what's been in my lap. This
it was a
bloodline.
good deal for Hadrian as well because all he had to do was give his genes and then he could join the scholars,
Yep.
which is what he
Again.
wanted to do.
Yeah. The scholiast.
Yeah, like
Mm.
all he had to do was like come into a cup and then leave.
Yeah. Real.
Leave your
Unbelievable.
deposit here.
She seemed
Like
to like
sperm.
actually like him though.
She did. Yeah, and I was
Definitely.
just like, you definitely had a good deal there, but you were like, I'm gonna
And
go
then
fight in a war.
yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
why he's
I want
I
to
don't know why he
fight
sounds
in
like
a
a valley girl
war,
to
and
me.
I
I
want to look at
apologize.
this milf.
Yeah, he was like, I like the the cyborg MILF. Sorry.
Like I don't really care for Dorian too much, but I actually really like Anais. I like her. I think her for someone who could have easily sustained Hadrian, etc. I've actually thought her motives are surprisingly pure.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did, I actually almost felt sorry for her. Again, she's mentioned in the very last paragraph, like he never saw her again, as basically she was
Mm-hmm.
obviously Hadrian was able to negotiate his way out of the arranged marriage. But I actually felt for her because she did seem to genuinely care, and she wasn't
Yeah,
an
and I'm
absolute
like,
arse as well.
because he still talked like he wanted to be a scholar. He still wanted to learn and stuff like that. And I was like, genuinely, this was a good deal for you because, like I said, you need to make your deposit at the sperm bank, and then you have enough money to go do what you want.
For real.
But obviously, that'd be a short book. So,
I want to
and he
jump.
still has foot in mouth.
Yeah, I want to jump a little bit. Do you remember in the first part his brother?
Crispin,
The arse,
crispy,
yes.
Yeah.
Crispin,
Crispin?
Sir
crispy.
Crispin.
Krispy Kreme?
Sir
Oh my
Crispin
God,
Cole.
Sir Crispin! He's gonna he's gonna cave in someone's head. Hold on.
Do you like Crispin or no?
No.
He just, you know what it is? He seems like a child of the life he's lived.
Dude,
So,
I love Crispin. I gotta
yeah,
be honest.
genuinely, like, as a character, he's showing exactly what the Palatines are.
Yeah.
As a character, he's definitely showing exactly what they are. And he was born into that world, born into everything that's happening to him. So I don't think it's something I can dislike him for because he knows nothing else.
Mm-hmm.
I think he represents a good antithesis of what Hadrian is. Like he's very clear. Like this
Or
is
what
he is the opposite
Hadrian
of
wants
him.
to be. He's an
Yeah.
antithesis of what
Well, the
Hadrian
thing
wants to
is,
be.
yeah, it seems like Krispy Kreme like really likes Hadrian though, and he just wanted to be on
Well,
his side, you know?
almost. You got besides want to kill him at the end.
Yeah, because no matter what he did, like he wanted Hadrian to like him, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, and
so he
definitely
would.
like.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, carry on.
No.
I don't want to interrupt you. Carry on.
I'll step in. I do like that. That one of Hadrian's regrets is that like he wished he had basically picked up what Crispin was throwing down. Essentially,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think he definitely did want Hadrian to like it and to be involved with Hadrian because he was talking to Hadrian all the time. He was going like, "Do you want to do this together? Do you want to do this together?" But he was giving him Palatine ideas of what to do, which Hadrian was not interested in. And that fight at the
Mhm.
end, Hadrian definitely started that. So
Oh yeah.
he definitely started that. Crispin was like, "I'm gonna try and finish this," but Hadrian he started that shit.
I guess.
And I think
Then.
obviously Hadrian was very jealous of him as well, so he couldn't allow himself to care for Crispin because he was so jealous of him.
He's
Mhm.
basically been replaced by him, hadn't he? Like it was. I don't think it had been officially confirmed, but essentially he had basically supplanted him as heir to the to the Marlowe household, essentially.
I think by the time he was going to be sent off to be part of the priest thing, they
The
were
Chantry?
the
Chantry?
chantry. And when he was going to be sent off to the chantry, I think his dad said that like you're just not the heir anymore.
Yeah, no, that was definitely it, because you don't send your heir off to join the Chantry. You send your heir off, like you send off one of your family members to gain a foothold, because the Chantry is so powerful.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
essentially establish a position, basically an inside family presence into these affairs.
And like he can kind of like rig it from the inside, but you would never send your heir there because you'd never get him back.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why Hadrian was like, grr.
So, what do you guys think? I'm just jumping topics all the time. I'm bad at this. I'm
And
talking.
then we can talk about whoever we want.
What do you like? How do you like the cyborg girl?
Valka,
The
I
doctor.
do like her. I do like her, but I feel like sometimes she has very grandiose views.
She seems very much like a. I like don't want them to end up together. Like they're gonna have a fling or whatever it seems like, but I
Yeah.
don't want them to like
She's definitely a
end
love
up
interest
together.
for him, but I don't think they're ending up together because, like I said, she has very grandiose views of others and herself.
Mm-hmm.
And like you can tell that she kind of does. She thinks everyone else is like a savage, and she thinks she's better than them and more evolved, which is exactly what the Palatines think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
to get a sense that she thought she was kind of a bit like holier than thou, but I actually
yeah,
think it was. I actually think she ended up becoming Hadrian's one almost, essentially, by the time he got done. But I do enjoy that Hadrian felt guilt at his feelings for Valka because of Cat. I was like, this is an interesting hangover.
Mm-hmm.
but I'm like, this man is falling in love left and right. Like the first one, it was
The
like,
bodyguard.
yeah, literally, the first one was like, oh, what's that woman's name? The one who used to drive his ship for him. He was very smitten with her in Devil's Rest, and then he got to Emish, the first girl that spoke to him. He was like, "Hi, Queen." He was like, and then next it was like no one really in the Colosseum because everyone was like, "Go fuck yourself." Um, but then as soon as he got to the palace, he was like, "Hi, Valka."
Yeah, real.
I was like, this man has a bitch everywhere. Like, okay,
His body can't tie.
his body can't tie, and none the way you think.
He's a terrible
Can't find her
person.
name.
Yeah, her name's not important because we're never going to see her again. So she's already like in her 50s now. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess because Crispin said he'd kill her essentially, but
Crispin. No, he's forever labelled Krispy Kreme now, and he will never change my mind. Thanks for that, Connor.
Kyra or Kyra, that's the one.
Kyra.
So then they kind of go into the whole. He has to tutor these children. We kind of went through that. Then he meets Valka, and then he starts fighting with an imp.
An intus, which is int is like so derogatory, and I don't even.
No, it's insane.
Like even the word sounds like ooh.
He was like, let me say the worst thing that I could say about this guy.
Literally, and I'm
Wait.
like, his face is created, and I was like, ooh.
Which is insane because he's like, this guy is fucking disgusting. He's not pure. And then it's like, bro, you were with Cat, and you did the deed with Cat. Like you're not above him. You're not.
He thinks he was, but in a weird way, this feud, because it's just clear that like is it Gilliam? He just disdains
Gilliam.
disdains everything because he sniffs her rat
He's
essentially.
jealous. Yeah, but he's also jealous.
He definitely had the right idea. Like Hadrian was hiding something, and he's definitely probably a lot worse for this part of the universe than he looks from the outside. So he definitely smelled the right thing. It's just he went about it the wrong way, and then like believed he was like evil or something. Know what I mean?
I
know
guess
what I
it
mean?
would
I know what you
be
mean.
natural to not trust someone so quickly. Just like you see how this goes. Like it's how people end up infiltrating circles quickly, and like how did this happen? It's like well, perhaps it's the guy who's immediately risen through the ranks above the people who've been there for years. People don't tend not to like that very much, and usually suspect something's at play, which it was. But
He definitely went straight into this guy is an industry
fuck
plant.
this guy. Yeah, I think it's safe to say that this rivalry ends up shaping, or at least in some ways defining this particular
Yeah, because
arc.
Gillum holds a grudge, and then so does Hadrian, and then he's like, "I will fight you for my lady's honor," and Valka's in the background going,
I
"Please
didn't
don't."
ask you to.
She's like, "I don't want you to."
bro, stop it.
Why did you
Stop
do it? She's like, I couldn't help it. I had to. Your honor.
She's like, "You literally did this." She literally comes and sees him and going, "You literally did this to yourself," and he's sat there going, "I know." She's
And
like,
then
"I
he
have
was-
no pity for you."
And then he had like too much confidence and then like didn't even get the first hit.
Well, he had this whole plan. It's like I'll make him beg for mercy when when I get
Yeah,
the
because
first
you know
draw
what it is
first
though.
blood.
That was also his prejudice thinking, because he's like this hunched back little freak, this intus. Urgh. This intus could never be a full-blooded palatine like myself. That was definitely his prejudice speaking there, and then Gillen was like, "Bitch, shut the fuck up."
I did like how basically because when he struck him, basically I demand satisfaction, and like you can't challenge me. You don't have the right blood right essentially, and then obviously his true identity is revealed. I kind of like how it's
And
written.
I'm
Basically,
like,
he looks towards
man
Matara like, "Ah,
revealed,
shit,
man was
it's
hiding
over."
his identity this whole time, right? And then he revealed it just to get some pussy. Oh fuck.
Oh, 100%.
And I was like, dude.
And then Velka was like pissed.
Valka was like, "You ain't touching this
I think
cyborg pussy."
the only person that made it so that him and Valka could actually get together was Switch.
Yeah, go Switch. Switch is a bro.
Switch is the best wingman.
Good wingman.
Switch is a bro.
I guess the duel itself. I mean, obviously it goes awry quickly because spoilers. He doesn't get first blood. And it's like, well, my best laid plans have suddenly gone awry.
And he's like, "No, I
my
gotta kill
very
you."
well written plans.
A lot was dependent on him getting first blood, and it's like, well, I did not get first blood. Now, oh shit, because
Yep.
it was very much like to appease Valk. It's like I won't kill him. Like I'll draw first blood, and then I'll give him a chance to essentially end it. A lot of promises that he couldn't make or keep.
Because once again, he underestimated him because he's an intus. I also love that it's like his obsessions with the xenomorphs, like the whatever the weird tentacly ones were called.
The
Because I don't have the audiobook, so I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that.
I'm gonna say the Umand.
Umand, maybe.
Is
There's
that the slaves,
Umand.
basically.
Yeah, the tentacly slaves.
The illiterate slaves. Yeah.
The
technically a
the
little bit.
Xenobites.
So Xenobites is the general term for the
Yeah,
aliens.
was the
and
general
that means-
term.
Racist.
Well,
Yeah, it
we're
was the
Homo
yeah, it was the
sapiens.
Umand is the
They're the ones that
the
attempted the little uprising.
amphibious what the heck? Comparable to that of a dolphin. It has the intelligence comparable to a dolphin. Is what it
Dolphins
says
are
at the
smart.
back of the book.
But yeah, the duel, obviously it doesn't go to plan, and well, actions have consequences, sadly.
Yeah, but he has a very childlike fascination with them and obsession with them.
Mhm.
And the same with the Sealsin. He's fascinated by them, and like when he's talking to them at the end as well. And I like how it's talking about like the language of themselves as well, which I really enjoy, because
Mhm.
obviously like in most books when they talk in a different language it doesn't pick it up. Like the first thought that comes into my head is in Game of Thrones when they're speaking like the other languages
Mhm.
in the books, they just say they're said in Valerian or they're said in Dothraki.
Yeah.
But in this one, it's like it's giving you the pronunciation, but it's also telling you more information about the language, such as like he says it in the female pronunciation because it's peaceful and stuff like that. And I'm like, that's really interesting.
Yeah, he kind of gives the cultural like significance to
Yeah,
the
which I
language.
really really enjoyed because I'm like we know we've got spoilers that he goes to war with them and they're monsters, but it's also like showing like they're smarter than the Uman. They've got culture and all sorts, which is really interesting to me.
Hmm.
It's not just that. Like I think we're eventually told, and it's like, said elsewhere, like like he essentially ends their race.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it says in the first book that he makes them into the Empire's slaves.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's I really liked, like you were saying, the like it gave like he gave cadences to how they talk and everything. And
Yeah,
then
it was really interesting.
they even went into like how they smile and how they laugh and stuff like that too, which was so interesting.
And when they're all fighting at the end, I'm skipping all the way to the end, near the end, guys. Sorry. We're jumping all over here. Like at the end, where he was like, "Tell them I died." Like even the guy who he's literally the SEAL thing that he's killing is like, "Tell them that I died with honor." And I'm like, they have like their own way of honor. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? It's almost like humanifying these creatures.
Yeah, it was that he had to kill him in combat rather than
Die
die
chained.
die chained or die by his own hand. It was very interesting.
Very, very interesting. And I also like that we got a bit of information about like even the hierarchy to say like one of them is related or
Yeah, the
by
one
the
was
king.
yeah, one was related to the king, to the like god of their, or like their, yeah, some whatever. I know what I meant.
Which yeah, which is very interesting as well.
uh what do you think about one of my favorite scenes is the cave where he gets
Hmm.
stuck down there for
Oh my
hours.
god. The
And
introduction to the quiet.
the Quiet is such a cool name, by the way.
It's honestly banging name. But can I just say the Sun Eater banging name. That's like
Banging, banging.
that's like a metal band I would listen to. Like, and you know what I
So
mean?
I know
What a
it.
fucking banging name. And then the quiet is like almost like chilling because like you're calling like this civilization or like almost or
Hmm.
whatever it is, like no one knows what the quiet is and you've called it the quiet. I'm like, that's eerie, dude.
Hmm. I know you guys know this, but I make playlists for books and stuff that I listen to. Er, and the first song for this is a song called Sun Eater.
Oh my
And
god.
it's like, I love it. Love it, love it,
If I
love it.
made a playlist of this, it would just be like Starset.
But yeah, it would be a lot of Star Set.
It would just be Starset.
I like some of the characters that are introduced around this time. I mean, I wish we got a bit more of Basander Lin. I know it's obviously a reference, basically, like because obviously the end of this book basically has him basically like Basander Lin is going to be accompanying
Yeah,
uh,
and the other guy he was talking to as well, at the
Sir
dinner.
Haloran, but basically
The,
the knight he really likes.
no, no,
Hmm.
no, not the night. The dinner at the Baron's dinner. He was like, this guy becomes my lieutenant, and like in the book
Mm.
itself, he says, this man becomes my lieutenant. I follow him in the battlefield, and he says he succeeded where I did not, and I'm like, that's really interesting. Like, I can't wait to meet him properly.
Like I like that. Like it's teased that basically Basander Lin is basically like Hadrian's rival in some ways, but it doesn't seem like a rival animosity. It seems like they both seem to push each other to greater heights. At least that's what the sense I got from
Hmm.
the brief outline that future Hadrian gives about Basander Lin.
I think it's interesting that he.
I think we will see a lot more of them later on,
Hmm.
which is interesting. And also, like I said, that guy, I'm kind of find his goddamn name.
I do
You know,
think that him writing it that way and being like, this person becomes this to me, this person is like, I didn't know would
like
be the last time I talked to, or something
it's
that.
like it's telling us to keep a note
Yeah,
of these people.
keep a note. But it also, to me, as like me writing a book, I am like, man, that is writing himself into a corner because now he has to remember that he has to talk about this person again in a future book.
But I think
The
that's
way,
also
Probably mapped
a
out.
reminder to
yeah,
himself as well.
yeah.
But it's also to other people being like, this is the prequel. Remember these names.
To
They're
me,
important.
sometimes the way it read to me was like it was an author note to himself to remember, and then it's like, why do we know this? Like,
Remember, he's
can we
important.
not?
Yeah, but those the underground like temple almost super
Oh
super
yeah.
interesting.
I
Super
was
interesting.
I love the quiet. I love how it's introduced, how we're like we don't
How it's
know
introduced to
anything.
him by like a temple that no one understands with rock that no one understands and a vision
And
that no one else has
Yeah.
seen or
and
no
it,
one
and
understands.
he was down in there, he felt for a few minutes, and Velka gets mad at him because he was gone for 6 hours.
And it's
Yep.
like,
It's because like basically like she doesn't believe him. Like she basically thinks he's like gaslighting her.
and
Hmm.
it's so interesting to be like, no one knows what these people are. They are called the Quiet because there is no record of them anywhere.
It's like the
Like,
galaxy's great cover up.
yeah, like we don't understand a thing about them, and no one does. Like, and I feel like obviously we'll learn more later on, most likely, but the confusion and like what he's feeling in that moment, it really like stands out to it because like imagine like seeing like even like if you imagine like someone discovering like Rome and not knowing anything about it,
Hmm.
and you're seeing statues of all these gods, you're seeing these colosseums, and you're like, and somebody looking at it for the first time and being like, "What is this?" Which is very interesting. I also love their religion as the Earth.
Yeah. Is
Their
Earth.
religion is Mother Earth will return to us, and I'm like, what the fuck?
This is it's very I can't, I hate keep saying this, but it's very Red Rising of it too, because Red Rising started kind of going that way, where it felt like uh, you never see Earth in the original trilogy of Red Rising, to the point that it almost seems like it's a far off
Far off
thing,
mystical
even
place,
though they're
yeah.
like right there on the moon of Earth,
And the
and they.
moon is like the main thing now because everyone has left behind Earth. But
Mhm.
then maybe it will get to the point where people want to return to Earth, but they can't anymore.
Very, very pog.
Oh
So
no, I had a very good time. I had a good time.
so then after that, the funny part happens where we learn that there's a Cielson ship that shows up at the edge of the galaxy or whatever, and then all of a sudden is landing on the planet.
Yeah, it's all very like sudden. And I'm trying to find it like the way he's describing the ships is like almost like planet life.
Mm-hmm.
He's like those mountainous ships, like they're almost like terraformed.
Yeah, they're huge. They feel terraformed, and it it was like these ships are not meant to land anywhere. So they're not meant to be in orbit.
And it's also like these ships, like humans cannot understand how they were done,
Hmm.
which is
It feels
interesting.
so
Like it's almost like
alien.
mind-boggling. It is
Hmm.
alien. It really does feel alien.
Hmm. He does very well at like establishing them as so far offly different, but like similar in technology. It seems like.
It seems like yeah, it's like it's really well done at describing them as other, as something way different. Their technology is like different to what we could ever do or comprehend, like the ships itself. But it's also kind of describing them as similar because of the
Hmm.
like how they speak, their king, how they would die with honor and stuff like that. Um, really like it's very like mirroring itself.
It also it goes into the quiet stuff too, where it seems like the quiet is so much older, but it also had its own like spacefaring thing well
So
before either of
yeah,
them.
and
Hmm.
it kind of points out that they're almost gods because they come to the temple, and they're like, "This is a holy place," and we're like,
Mhm,
"What?"
mhm.
Because we
Yeah,
thought they were a
they were specifically
civilization.
coming here to look at the temple, and
Because
it,
yeah, it's just
and
It
then
is
they
quite
have
eerie, this particular part. There's a sense of a stirring of something much larger at play that we don't quite understand. It's all quite shrouded in mystery,
mhm,
which is obviously the whole point. But
King Shroud.
it's it's quite. I find this particular part quite kind of tense. Like I have this particular like this kind of last arc. Once I kind of started getting into it, I get my teeth into it. Like I couldn't stop. Like I could feel a tension kind of building throughout this particular
Mhm.
arc, and then obviously we ended up getting to basically the negotiations in a cave. But yeah, this it was all quite eerie how this is all set up between the quiet and obviously uh the contrasting
feels thin.
technologies. Yeah, it was all quite
Yeah, and it's like even like the rock itself is like we've scanned it, it doesn't even pick up on the scanners. Like we can't even take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Which is really, really interesting. And the fact that the Sealsin prey, presumably in this area, are to the
Oh.
quiet themselves,
Mhm.
and is what the Umand was seemingly doing.
And do you remember when he first goes to that side of the planet too? He's like all of the all the buildings and everything feel so purposefully out of line too, where they weren't directly straight or anything. They were purposefully like off center.
Yeah, they were on a weird angle,
Hmm.
and you couldn't quite pick it up unless you stared at it for a long time.
It was
Just slightly skewed.
such good world building without giving us almost anything. It's it's such good world building. Makes me angry. So what do you guys think of the cute little Sealson guys that they capture?
What cuties! They got big eyes, so cute.
I did like the negotiation beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
It was a interesting game of cat and mouse, and also again just an example of Hadrian making promises that he almost certainly can't keep.
Mm-hmm.
Like he talked himself well out of that one, but then also kind of screwed himself up.
Yeah. The
Because they were
only
like, "Well,
I
you're
think
the
it's
only one who
saving
can
expected.
talk to them. You can only one who can talk to them. So come sit while we torture them." He's like, "No."
the only saving grace from him doing all this stupid stuff was the old old lady like child girl at the end that like found him fascinating. The queen lady.
Oh, what's her name? Is it something Smith?
I don't know, but I love that whole like interaction with the Cielson and him having to figure out how to talk to them without them knowing and stuff, and knowing that eventually these recordings are going to be translated and then shown that he's lying to them constantly.
If only we had someone who had some sort of technology that could interfere
Oh
while
yeah.
if
If
only
only we had Cyborg from Teen Titans,
But hotter, apparently.
but hotter apparently.
He
yeah, a
wants the
somewhat
cyborg
contrived
pussy.
convenience. But anyway, we'll
Very,
allow it, I suppose.
it's very strange, like very strange Deus Ex, but also kind of not because they talked about it earlier. They made it seem like this it almost felt like it came out of nowhere, but they did kind of foreshadow it with the brownouts and stuff.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't like that brownout. I don't like that.
I'm telling. I'm telling God you said that.
I just think of child changing duties, and it's like, oh no, I don't want to deal with a brownout. I do. There are parts where this last part kind of goes on a bit. It's a very much a prolonged kind of back and forth between the council and basically Hadrian, and
Hmm.
then it's like an exchange of information essentially between the Sicilian. Yeah, again, this kind of goes on a little bit, and then obviously we get to the brownout, as you refer it, the breakout essentially,
Hmm.
um,
And
and
and then kills him with honor.
yeah, eventually. I mean, I think yeah, it was kind of almost sad
you-
to see like he trusted Hadrian, and then
Do
like
you?
everything unfolds, and then it's like I don't really trust you as much, and it's like oh,
Yeah.
it's sad.
Do you think there's a bigger reason other than just it being symbolism? Do you think there's a bigger reason why they like kind of tried to crucify the Cielson as they were torturing it and trying to get information? They like literally put it on a cross.
Uh,
Mm,
mm, I think it just
maybe
more
because
speaks
obviously
to
they still have like all the information from old Earth. Like they still have all the like they still take lessons from like the Roman Empire and shit like that. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
I think part of it is just the barbarity in which they view the Sicilian.
Yeah.
And it's just this is just reflective of how they view them. This is just how they would treat them. I wouldn't look. I don't see any more than it just as a reflection of how lowly and savagely they see the Sicilian in comparison to
Mm-hmm.
themselves. Although the picture I do get in my head is like I do think at this particular point I see I you know that you just get idea like a visualization in your head, and I just think of the Sangeli from Halo. I think of like the Arbiter, for instance. That's
Oh
the kind
yeah.
of that's what kind of comes into mind. Even obviously, even he is kind of put up like this as well, and he's given the mark of shame essentially. I just kind of picture a similarity in how almost their appearance in one way, and like how they are basically viewed and how they're put up, strung up, basically.
Sadness. Sadness and despair.
Sadness and pain
Then
and
they're
pride.
in the funny chamber talking to all the other like lords and stuff around the place, and he gets to have the hot seat because he was the one talking to DC Elson after he killed him. Uh and my favorite line in all of the book is happens where he goes where they're just like, Are are you just a walking melodrama? And he goes, Yes, ask anybody who knows me. I'm like, yeah, you have been
Yeah, he
this
has foot
whole
and mouth
book.
disease. We have established this.
Foot and mouth disease, please.
He's simultaneously able to talk himself in and out of shite.
Oh my gosh, all the time.
He talks himself into it mostly though.
Yeah.
This is one of the rare occasions he managed to get out of it because not only did he manage to negotiate himself out of the arranged marriage, but now he's basically commander of this, but it's called
Yeah.
odd expedition.
And it's all because the old lady that liked him. The child lady.
The
Hmm.
child.
What is
Who I
so
like the
go ahead.
reference that she knows, but she's
Mhm.
cool about it.
Yeah, she's definitely has some tricks up her sleeve as to why she wants him on this expedition specifically. And I want to know what she knows and what she's like hiding from him. And I'm excited to see that in what will come next. One of the 500 books that come next. Which he just finished his last book in the series apparently.
Yeah, which is really exciting.
Makes me angry. Why can't this be Wheel of Time and have 40 books?
And apparently, he's released the cover and like this is like the first art of the Sealson that he's actually released. It's like
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
memes.
Yeah, I love it. It's so
So this is the
pretty.
actual book cover.
I
Not what I
need.
pictured, but you know what?
I guess I was going to ask, like, is that like, would you prefer to have been left a little bit more to the imagination, or have a kind of definitive picture to visualize?
I feel like I like having a definitive picture because like every time I imagine it, it kind of changes, which kind of annoys me.
Mm-hmm.
I like having it in my head that I can picture it clearly. And humans are a lot easier to do that with because like when I was reading when I'm reading a book or something and it becomes like a TV show or like people drop on it, it's like yeah, it's very similar. With aliens who are so weird and misfigured, it's like every single time I try to picture something, it's not quite mishmashing.
Mm-hmm.
So which is interesting.
Do you feel you could still give a clear description and then some sort of adaptation gets it wrong? Cough, Voldemort, cough.
Oh.
It's right. He's right. It's perfect.
His eyes are red. He has a nose.
He has
Barely.
It's all wrong.
He is supposed to look
doesn't have
more
a 10-inch
snake-like.
cock.
I'm going to delete Mari from existing
Show me
after
that
saying that.
Voldussy. Get the Voldussy out. Let me see
Okay,
it.
we're done. We're done. So, is it Mari's turn to choose the next book?
Trying to think now. Have you read the Stormlight Archive, Connor?
No.
Because I was thinking some Brandon Sanderson would be nice.
Isn't that like the longest book ever made?
The Way of Kings. No, I got through that in like a week, 2 weeks.
I think I've got the first Way of Kings.
So, I'll just ask one thing before we figure it out. Then, what would you rate this book?
Oh shit! What's the criteria actually? What was the criteria we decided upon? We did a system for this.
Yeah, we have a
I
system
have not
for
filled
this.
it out for this book. I would like to now. Broke it down into from
Okay, yeah.
five criteria: emotional impact, characters, plot, world building, conflicts. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, I think we picked 5 things because the toppest rating for each one was 20, and then we'd add it up at the end.
Yeah, and it gets to an
There it
out of
is.
100. We quite even talk through each of them as we go through it. Because I could go through each of these now.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't take too long. Should we? So why don't we start with the first one listed there, emotional impact.
I'd honestly give it like a 16 because it did affect me emotionally because I was like harrowing, but I wasn't like sobbing or anything like that. Maybe like a 15.
This would be lower for me, I think. I didn't emotional. So I guess like it's like what is emotional impact? It's a personal thing, obviously, but
Yeah, I think emotional impact, it's not like joy or happiness, but it's also like stress and like, oh my God, you know what I mean?
yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
never got a lot of that from this. I must be honest. Like, there wasn't anything that particularly
Yeah,
shocked
yeah.
me, like
No,
a
I
end
do
of
get what you're
Golden Sun
saying.
moment. Like it's like holy shit, or even yeah, in Red Rising even as well. So it is just to compare stuff that we've done. So I'm actually
What
gonna
about
give
you,
this
Connor?
low.
I think I would probably give it a 18, to be honest. Like, I really like the emotional, or 17, maybe.
Yeah, I think I'm sticking with 16 because I was emotionally invested. I will say that. I was invested. Characters, I like all of the characters to be honest with you. I like how they were introduced. Um, I like that way, like the views that he's giving on them and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And how even at like the dinner party, everyone had like differing views, which was interesting.
Who would you say is your favorite character?
My favorite character?
Hmm. You can give a
Oh, I don't.
non-Hadrian answer if Hadrian is your.
No, I don't. Honestly, I couldn't like say I have a favorite character. Because I genuinely I do like certain parts of all of them. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
I like how the father is like cold and prideful. I like how the mum is also cold and prideful, but there is the end that like she's almost loving. And I genuinely I just enjoyed all of the characters to be honest with you, but I do like Switch the most. I feel like because I feel like out of all of them, he honestly felt like the most human almost.
Mm-hmm.
The character, the one criticism I might have is that because we go through a lot of different arcs, and the characters within those arcs pretty much all change. Like they're very different for each one. So obviously, like you've got Lord Alistair and Crispin in the first one. We've got Cat kind of in the second part, and then you got the like Switch in the third, and then you got Valka, and then we don't. While these characters are good on their own, we don't always get a ton of time to really settle with them before moving on to new ones and discarding the old ones.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a
I also
criticism, it would be that.
My thing is the character of the Sealson as well. I really enjoyed it because even at the end, even if it was the end of the book, the way it built up to showing us their culture and everything like that, I really enjoyed it because it was like,
Hmm.
yes, they are hermaphrodites, they don't have a gender, and I enjoyed how it showed that the gender is how you speak and how you act instead of what your gender is or what you do with your gender,
Mm-hmm.
which I quite enjoyed. And like I
The
said, I really enjoyed how it was almost humanifying the Sealson, but also showing that they are really weird
hmm.
and they are obviously characters in there. So I really, oh,
Even to kind of argue with myself on not having characters stick around for too long. Like I really like Cassandra Lynn. We barely got anything from Cassandra Lynn, but it was like the kind of the promise, the tease of him almost that kind of appealed to me a lot as well. Uh, but it's hard for me to pick a favorite character because, again, I just feel like we didn't get a ton of time before, I guess, changing character. We changed environments quite a lot sometimes.
Mhm.
I think probably even like you even saying like I think you're right, Mario. Like the Sicilian is as obviously they are individuals, but like I think almost as a character themselves, I think are probably the most interesting. I think in
Yeah,
the
yeah, that's
book
what
as
I
a
was
whole.
thinking. I wasn't thinking about characters as an individual because I was thinking of a group of them because that's what they kind of refer to them as. Is it
Hmm.
like Seal Sin race themselves are kind of a character plot, which I enjoy. What
I
about you, Con?
I think characters overall I would give a 14. I
Hmm.
think I love the characters. I love a few of them like really a lot. But then they don't get screen time or they don't get
Yeah.
treated well where like I love Switch. But even him, he is kind of introduced, does his thing, is thrown to the side. Then he comes back when he needs to do something else for the plot, and then is thrown aside again until the end of the book where it seems like they reunite again.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I think I'm just kind of focused on the Seal Sin because it's so
Yeah.
interesting to
What
me. I think
what
I'm
did
just kind of
you
hyperfixated.
what was your score?
17.
I have 13. I have very similar views to you.
I feel like I'm just too forgiving, guys. Maybe I'll change it to 16 because I feel
No,
like
no,
it's
don't let us
No, no, no,
affect
no,
your.
no, 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 no.
no, I think I'm too no. I
No,
feel
no, no,
like
no, 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 no.
I'm just thinking about the Seal Sin in my head really, and I'm kind of like, but like as a person who reads a lot and a lot, I feel like I can get attached to characters really easily. I'm not sure. I'm talking myself into circles here. You guys go.
Okay. What about plot?
Yes, much more of a redeeming. I've given this quite like I like the book more than what I've rated it so far, but plot is where it begins to kind of make up a bit more in terms of rating. Yeah, I do like where we end up going, and even though I think sometimes it takes a little long to get there at times, I do think the general map for this particular book, I do think it does as slow as it can. The pacing, I think I have issues with at times, but I do think it nothing else at least I think flows naturally, and I kind of like where it ends. Like I do, like ultimately, like it turns out what the actual high point, the climax is basically the cave scene, which
Mhm.
it all threatens to basically it's like a tinderbox waiting to like it has the potential to explode. So I do like the song and dance around that. Yeah, I like how we got here. So I would give this one a bit higher of a score than I think some of the other elements. I do think this is where it begins to make up a little bit.
I will say that for me, I put because we only have 5 categories, I put plot and pacing into the same thing.
Yeah, I
So
like that.
that's where where it gets dragged down for me. And I have this as my lowest because I think I
Oh well.
love the plot itself, but the pacing ruins it for me.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.
So I have it as a 12.
How about you, Murray?
Um, I have a 15. Because yeah, don't get me wrong, I like the plot. I like the different sections of the life he's had so far. But yeah, with Connor, it's a lot of pacing. But with me as well, to be like pacing wise, it's quite. There are some bits that don't need to be in there.
Hmm.
A lot of explanation that don't need to be in there. But it's also I like the high point for me is I like how he justifies his plot points and how it leads on to something else important.
Hmm.
Um, so I do like the fact that each plot point is justifiable in its own way and it does lead into the next quite smoothly,
Hmm.
which is I think was really well done. But it was just basic, like a lot of the canal bits didn't need to like be in there, or a lot of the Colosseum bits didn't need to be in there. So those were quite slow for me because it was like for a long book as well. You'd expect it to have a bit more filling, whereas a lot of it is just like him in the Colosseum going, "Come on, guys," or him like on the streets in the canals going to just be good depressed sludge on the floor. Like you can write that emotional contact and it could just be a chapter or two. It didn't need to be a chunk.
It's weird, isn't it? I feel like one of my complaints is that we don't stay anywhere long enough to develop character, yet we stay in areas for too long. It's a weird like
Because what it
negative
is
balance that's struck.
in those places, it's the thing is we do stay there long enough to develop characters, but he doesn't develop them enough
Yeah.
because to him they're not important to the future plot. So it's to the writer they're not important to the future plot. So it's just kind of brushed over. Like with Kat, he says he's important to her, but we don't really see much of her. Like we see them going around doing their things, but we learn nothing about her.
Hmm.
Yeah, she's also a thief, and then yeah, I'm with you. It's
She's a homeless thief, and she's teaching him how to survive on the streets. That's it. That was like her
hmm.
plot point. But for someone saying like in the book itself, I almost didn't write about her because she was too close to my heart or whatever. You don't see it. You don't
Yeah,
see that plot point, but you so wrote that into the book. Like you didn't give me the like. It was like you gave me an empty sandwich.
yeah. It's not, I was gonna say like, it's a good analogy. I was gonna say like there's not enough meat to the bone of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like these chickens were hungry, bro. Feed them.
Into world building, I'll start this one off. I kind of put world building and prose into the same thing, and I'm sorry to say this, but that's a full 20 for me. The highest one that I have. It's the perfect score.
Can I
It's
actually tell you something? I actually
no.
put a 20 for that as well.
Woo!
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going 20, but I do think this is definitely the strongest point of the whole book is that it creates a very like as much time we spend in places like this is the time that is most well spent, I think, establishing and understanding how a lot of the galaxy and universe building, I guess, works in relation to the characters. I think this is definitely the part that's fleshed out the most, and it's definitely its strongest point is that it gives a very clear representation of the stakes for the character based on the universe that is going on around him and his place in it. So I
Mhm.
You
definitely
can
think this is the
tell
strongest bit.
you can tell that when he was writing and mapping out his thoughts for the book, this is the part he spent the most time on because to him, this prequel, the world building and setting was the most important part to go forward with.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And you can tell like when he had a whole murder board for this world building.
Who wants to start off conflicts?
Uh, yeah, because there's again similar to how I see the characters. I think they exist in their respective arcs, but not. There's a bit more into this than characters. I think the conflicts you can clearly see across the arcs. Like it's Crispin. It's how do you even describe the poverty arc? I mean, the conflict is with poverty essentially. Gilliam obviously is a fairly strong conflict in the middle, and then there's conflict at the end in terms of I guess the council and a little bit with Valka at times as well. But yeah, I would have this probably in between how I feel about world building and plot. I wouldn't. I don't think the conflicts are as strong as the world building, but I think they are a little stronger than their characters. I think there's a again, we don't spend a whole lot of time because we change scenes so often that we don't have a whole lot of time to build and then finish and satisfactory conflict. Again, Gilliam is the most satisfactory conflict because it's a lot more time spent building that, and then it has probably the best payoff in terms of conflict and how it
Mhm.
ends. It's so final, but also it's also like a tinderbox, I would say, because yeah, I think it's well built up and it delivers on its promise. I think it's the strongest one, but again, it's only a small part of the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's again, it's a very big book, and there's other conflicts at play here. It plays only one of them, but I think it is the one that's best done. Yeah, if this was a conflict at the end of the book, I think it would probably have been a bit more of a satisfactory ending. I think this is again the fact that the climax. I don't think the climax is as strong as a conflict as the Gilliam arc, so I've
Yeah.
got to take points away for that. But still decent enough.
I
So I give
think
it 14.
I think the all of the conflicts comes from Hadrian himself and all the problems that he created himself. And it really it gets into the point where it's like, hey, you're just wrecking yourself, basically. And he a lot of the problems comes from like, let's do this thing that I've already fucked up 5 times and do it again. Like I've
Does get a bit
already
repetitive,
understood that
doesn't it?
yeah. So to me, it's kind of it's not middle of the ground, but it's very like it could be better. So I think I think I'll maybe do the same as you, 14.
Hmm.
Sounds about right for me. Where I feel like it could be better. I feel like it's just very there, if that makes sense. Mari?
I have the same rating as you guys because, as Connor said, I feel like there's not really any twists. The only twist that we had was somebody dumped his body on a mesh.
Hmm.
That was really the only twist that we had because everything we can see coming due to his foot and mouth disease. I hope he seeks help for that soon.
Hmm.
But yeah, like genuinely, like there wasn't every conflict, every twist was due to himself. There was no twists because we saw it coming. No, like the conflict we saw it coming because this man can't keep his mouth shut.
Well,
Talks himself into so many situations. I feel like the only real twists that we had was dumping his body on a mesh, discovering the quiet, the vision, and the seal sin coming to the temple because it's a holy place to them. Those are the really only twists or like huge climax points that we've had.
mhm.
Whereas everything else has just been like the consequences of his actions.
Yeah. Well,
When will you learn that your actions have consequence?
Maybe next book.
yeah, never.
Right, let me
Well,
add these together. Hold on.
that'll be for you an 82, Mari.
Connor has the math
Mm.
doc set
And
up
then we
nicely.
will
I'm
and we
coming
will
up.
end.